What a last couple of days it has been for India at the Olympics. Hello and welcome to the Tokyo Dispatch, your daily roundup of everything that's creating a ripple at these Olympics. I'm Sidney Kiran. More history was made today after the Indian women's team made it to the semi-finals. Before we dive deep into the details of the match, here's a look at the day's headlines. India women's hockey team soared into a first ever Olympic semi-final. This is unprecedented. Kamalpreet finishes 6th in women's discus throw. Puerto Rico's Yasmin Camacho-QUINN wins 100-meter hurdles in dazzling fashion. Greece's Miltiades Tentoglou reigns supreme in men's long jump. 100-meter champion Thompson-HERAH and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce storm into 200-meter final. VIKTOR AXELSEN wins an historic badminton gold, defeating CHEN 21-15, 21-12. As always, the medals tally appears at the end of this video, so do stick around for that. On to our biggest story of the day. The Indian women's hockey team were the complete underdogs coming into the quarterfinal against Australia, the three-time Olympic champions and one of the most powerful forces in the sport. It was a proverbial David versus Goliath battle. Like we have seen so often in sport, upsets can happen, and that's exactly what the women did, stunning Australia 1-0 in a thrilling encounter. Rack flicker Gurjit Kaur, enduring an ordinary Olympics so far, was the hero of the day, smacking home in the 22nd minute that caught the Australians off guard. The goal was just a cherry on the cake. The gutsy defending in the final two quarters was a real clincher. As the clock ticked down in the final quarter, the Aussies came out in full force, but the Indian women withstood the onslaught, especially goalkeeper Savita Punia. The Indians will now face another force in Argentina in the semi-finals on Wednesday, where they'll be hoping to keep the dream run going. Kamalpreet Kaur finished a respectable 6th in the women's discus throw final, won by American Valerie ALLMAN on a rain-hit day in Tokyo. Kamalpreet's entry into the final was a surprise in itself, but the Indian barely looked tense in the most important battle of her life. The 25-year-old opened with a throw of 61.62 meters before fouling on a second attempt. She then hurled the discus to 63.70 meters in her third attempt, her biggest effort that helped her seal a creditable 6th spot in a 12-women field. American ALLMAN, an extremely talented dancer, quite literally danced away to glory with a throw of 68.98 in her first attempt. On to athletics. There's a huge gap in standards between Indian track athletes and global stars, and DUTEE got another glimpse of it in the 200 meters, where she ran a season's best but still failed to qualify for the semi-finals. DUTEE, who failed in a pet 100-meter event, clocked 23.95 seconds, a decent effort by her standard. However, it was not going to be good enough at the world stage. DUTEE ended 7th and last in her heat. She finished 38th overall out of 41 competitors to end a second Olympic campaign on a disappointing note. It has been one horrendous Tokyo trip for the highly celebrated Indian shooters, and it ended on a hugely disappointing note as PRATAP Singh Tomar and SANJEEV Rajput failed to qualify for the finals of the men's 50-meter rifle 3-position event. Tomar finished 21st in the qualification, while Rajput was placed even worse, 32nd. Having qualified for the Olympics in sensational form, the shooters were touted as India's best bet for a medal. But just like Rio Games 5 years ago, all that hype resulted in nothing. They fired blanks yet again and returned home empty-handed. Behind the scenes, there has been infighting, disagreement with coaches. A lot of skeletons have been tumbling out the past week. Have to wait and watch what the National Rifle Association of India does. Now let's move on to the best of international events. Puerto Rico's Yasmin Camacho-QUINN may have hit a hurdle, but that didn't stop her from producing a blistering run to claim the gold in the women's 100-meter hurdle. Camacho-QUINN broke the Olympic record in the semi-final, and that confidence was evident in the final, where she exploded off the blocks and ran shoulder to shoulder with American world record holder Kendra Harrison for the better part of the race. It was anybody's goal, but Camacho-QUINN had more gas in her tank, kicking a couple of gears to storm past the finish line in 12.37 seconds. Harrison had to settle for silver after clocking 12.52, while Jamaican Megan Tapper took bronze in 12.55. There was a lot of drama in the men's long jump too, won by Greece's Miltiadis Tentoglou. Cuban's Juan Miguel Echevarria took the lead with a leap of 8.41 meters in his third attempt, and it looked like he had pocketed the gold. Tentoglou, though, was not going home without a fight, and he reserved his best for the last, matching Echevarria's effort in his final attempt. An anxious wait followed for the duo, but it was Tentoglou who was rejoicing at the end of it, judges awarding gold to the Greek on countback. Tentoglou's next best effort of 8.15 meters was ahead of Echevarria's 8.09. In the women's 200 meter, defending champion Elaine Thompson-Herah and fellow Jamaican Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce laid down the gauntlet to the young pretenders by delivering emphatic performances in the respective semi-finals. Thompson-Herah, seeking a second successive Olympic sprint double after bagging the 100-meter gold in superb fashion on Saturday, matched a personal best of 21.66 seconds. Fraser-Pryce, 200-meter silver medalist in London 2012 and silver winner in the 100 in Tokyo, has barely run the 200 since winning the world title in 2013, but she looked on song in the semis, clocking 22.13. Safe to say, it's going to be another cracking sprint tomorrow. VIKTOR AXELSEN from Denmark realized his childhood dream when he defeated China's CHEN 21-15, 21-12 to win the Olympic badminton gold, becoming the first non-Asian man to win the singles title since 1996. AXELSEN, who won bronze at 2016 Rio Games, followed in the footsteps of compatriot Paul-Erik Høyer Larsen, the Atlanta Games champion. World number 6 Chen was bidding to emulate legendary Chinese player Lin Dan in retaining his Olympic title, but AXELSEN was marvelous on the day, dominating from the start till the end to claim the prized gold. And that's a wrap of today's action, but there's plenty lined up tomorrow. The Indian men's hockey team take on world champions Belgium in the semi-finals. Norway's Karsten Warholm stands favourite in the men's 400-meter hurdles. Women's 200-meter final will cap Tuesday's athletics program. And finally, before we go, here's the medals tally. With that, we wind up the day's action. Leave your messages for our hockey team in the comments below. We'll be back with all the updates tomorrow. For the latest action, make sure to log on to deccanherald.com or download the app for the notifications.